With his paintbrush in his hand and his heart so free, he found inspiration in nature's harmony. Inside his humble abode, colors come alive on canvas. He paints, expressing all his strife with the spirits of the woods. He dances in the light, creating masterpieces every single night.
Well, welcome back to Travels with Carl, my friends. Whew, it's episode 15. And like I promised you, I'm coming to you live from Portugal, baby. Now, I know that hotel room set behind me, that could be staged. I know. I do have a stamp here with Lisbon on it. Not a really good stamp, and I was in such a hurry when they stamped it. I heard them stamping it a number of times, like to try to get it to print. As a printmaker, I knew what was going down there. Right? There was not enough ink on the rubber, baby. I could hear that. I didn't even need to see what he was doing. Anyway, that is a stamp on my passport. I got a €5 dollar. It's not a dollar. I got a €5 bill here. Might have to get me a smaller wallet. Look at the size of that thing. That's a tiny little bill, ain't it? That's a beautiful bill, though. Yeah, I'm in Portugal. I'm in the city of Fundão, and I feel kind of special because there I am. I'm already on my screensaver. Look at that. I'm standing in front of a stone habitation that was built maybe 100, maybe 200 years ago by hand out of solid granite. I can't wait to learn more about how they actually built that thing. Anyway, it's got 3/4 of a hectare of land with it. It'll support, we're hoping 1,000 cherry trees. That'll get me in at, roughly 10 kilos of cherries a tree, $5 a kilo wholesale, depending on lots of stuff, and that'd theoretically bring me in around 50 grand a year, so that I don't have to try to live on my Social Security of $1,500 a month. So this is going to be an easy episode for me because I'm just in a state of pure bliss, and almost I can't even believe what I pulled off. I just bought a house in Washington a year ago, a double wide trailer on a lot that I have to pay a lease of $1,000 a month for. And it was harder to buy that than it was to buy a farm in Portugal, sight unseen. I've never even been to Portugal until I came over to do the deed, literally, with an attorney that my friend introduced me to. And I actually own it outright. Flat out own the whole shooting match. It was easier to buy that farm than it was to buy a double wide trailer in the country that I grew up in. And I'm not going to get all political today. I'm not even going to go there because I feel so unpolitical. There's only one person that used the T-rump word, and it was really cool, and it was really funny because I met him at breakfast, him and his wife. They're from Montreal now, but he grew up in Braga, which may be the oldest city in Portugal, and he speaks Portuguese, French, and English fluently, and she speaks all three of those languages plus Greek. And they are a hoot and a really nice couple, and I made some jokes with him or he was talking about supplying the United States with water, and you know, and I told him, you know, in a while you don't have to worry about it because it'll just be the 51st state, and we'll just take as much water from you as we want. And he said, no, I'm thinking that we should take the whole band, the whole top row of states across the country. I said, please take Washington. I said, and if you take the Great Lakes, then we've got no fresh water. You know, anyway, people here are so fucking cool, and everybody is just so chill. People are not upset that I don't speak Portuguese. I think they see that I'm trying, and I think they recognize that I'm old. In fact, I've got my tired since 1976 shirt on today. I actually just put that on because I came back just soaking wet and abused. I went to the Mushroom Festival. That sounds like a good idea, right? Well, the buses to go there didn't start until 7 o'clock, so I had to take 7 p.m., and I think they run till 3 o'clock. You know, and I was kind of hoping that it was mostly about mushrooms that normal people, regular people eat, but I think it was, and it was, but I think there's a lot to do with psychedelic mushrooms as well, just based on the crowd that was there. And the fact that the shuttle didn't start until 7 p.m. and it ran until 3 a.m., that's kind of... Plus, I saw some videos from last night before I went, but you know me, that doesn't bother me at all. I'm not drinking or drugging when I go there, and I don't care if people are. I'm just glad for them. And anyway, but on my way back, it was so busy that I couldn't get a Uber or a Bolt, which is another thing just like Uber, only it's a lot cheaper, and it only works in Europe. The Uber works here, but Lyft doesn't. But Bolt is like way cheaper than Uber. I don't know how they do it. And you can still tip the drivers on both apps. So I just hope that the Bolt drivers are making a decent living. But I took one Bolt and one Uber, but on the way back, I couldn't get either a Bolt or an Uber. So I thought, well, it's only 3 miles. I'm just going to do what I got to do. I'm just going to start walking until I get to, you know, hopefully I'll get to a big enough road where there's a bus, and I'll try and get a bus, or, you know, maybe things will change and I'll be able to get a Uber or something. And so actually, I won't go through the whole gnarly details, but I started walking. I finally thought I might be able to catch a train, but there was no train station when I got to the train tracks. So I just started walking down the train tracks for a while, and then eventually I saw a train coming, so I had to get off the tracks, and they blew their whistle at me, I think just to hurt my ears. I saw them, believe me. I saw the train coming. And got back onto the road after going through some brambles that fucked me up. I got the scars to prove it. But anyway, I just came to a good stopping place there on the road and called Uber again. And sure enough, boom, got a ride right away. So I got home, you know, took a shower, changed clothes, went to the store, got some iced tea, mango flavored iced tea. Look at the size of this. Look at the size of that. Things are different sizes here. Look at these. Look at these grapes. Fucking huge, right? I'll tell you. Watch. Delicious. That one had a seed in it, though. Did you hear that? Well, I'm pretty damn excited. Here's the scoop. I made one mistake so far. I bought my train ticket for the wrong day because I had jet lag before I even got here. The flight over here is bad. It was a long flight. but I wasn't sedated, and I was excited and stuff. So it probably won't be as long once I get into the rhythm of this whole thing. But flying back is going to be easy because I pick up 8 hours. So I actually get there the same day that I left, which is beautiful because you lose a day when you fly here. I don't know, people talk about how long it takes to get to Australia. If it feels worse than going to Portugal, I'm not ever going to go to Australia. Why should I? I don't know. I hear a lot of nice things about Melbourne. But anyway, I'm going to get right back to Travels with Carl, because what I have to say is that I could feel the energy already of how much more things make sense and how much insanity I left behind when I got over here. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. And I'll be coming right back into the thick of it. I'll be coming back on, and I fucked up again because I didn't allow enough time for my train on the return trip to Lisbon. So I'm going to take a train back on Tuesday. I don't fly out until Wednesday morning, but there's no way I can get from Fundão to Lisbon, even if I click my heel together 3 times. It's not going to do it, and I can't miss that flight because I know I bought it on Kayak, and I know they'll really jack me up if I miss it, and I have to try to get another flight. Not that I really want to come back, but I have to. I have to keep working for a little while. I'm still on track, though. I'm thinking 70 years. 2 more years after this birthday in November 17th. This Tuesday is my birthday. I'm sorry, this Monday is my birthday, and I'll actually, the whole day, the day after tomorrow, will be with my lawyer, Julio, and we will be signing 2 deeds. He will be helping me get my NIF number, which is some sort of a national identification number. Kind of like a social security number, only not really. But a way that they can identify me. It's, permanently forever attached to my name. And that allows me to buy properties and own property. And I think it actually also allows me to open a bank account. And it allows me to work towards citizenship. So I will also be opening up a bank account. And that's it, those 3 things. And then hopefully while I'm doing that, either today or Monday while I'm doing all that stuff with Julio, we hire someone that's going to cut the bushes down so that I can actually get inside the ruin. And I'm going to try to get him to do that whole half of the property because 1 half is forested. I'm not touching that until next summer. But the other half, I'm going to get that cleared and we're thinking we're going to be able to put 500 trees on each side. So, but I'm going to have them drill holes and clear it and put between 400 and 500 holes in there and put in trees, baby trees that will get all set and make it through the fall and the winter. And in springtime, they'll flower. And I'll probably get like 10 or 12 cherries off of each tree. And my friend said that's a good thing, that you can taste them and see which varieties you like better, But it ain't about me, man. It's whichever variety the Portuguese wholesaler wants. Because this is all about the money, baby. Not completely, but a lot. It's a lot to do with the money because, if anybody wants to think about coming to Portugal and becoming a farmer, tell me, I could not have done this in the United States. There's small farmers don't stand a chance. And I couldn't have afforded any land that would do this, especially where I need to be to grow something. And this area that I'm at is like the prized area, or the land where I bought is like the prized area for growing cherries in Portugal. It's like the best. And so anyway, I'm super excited about all that. But you know what? I think I'm going to jump into job number 15. Now, you remember last episode I talked about the Pioneer Inn Hotel on Lahaina, Maui, which is now just ash. You know, if there's even any ash left. I'm sure the trade winds has blown most of the ash that came from that wood building out onto the reef and out into the Pacific Ocean, which some of it has probably drifted as far as Tahiti by now. But my next job, which I got while I was working as a cook at the Pioneer Inn Hotel, are you ready? I should come in from this side. Could just sail in this way. Into the dock. All right, cast off the bow line. Cast off the stern line. That's it. It's the spirit of the Windjammer. And you'll notice it's parked right in front of the Pioneer Inn. Isn't that a beautiful painting? At the reflection of the water in there and everything, the reflection of the boat in the water there. Got my signature clouds. Here's another boat. It suspiciously looks like it has my name on the back of it. Palm trees, you know it. Got the Pioneer Inn fully occupied there, the lights on, signature red roof, green building, white trim. Yeah, that's it. That's a keeper. I love this painting. And I did it right here. You know, I did it right here. In case you doubt me. Brought my acrylic paints, watercolors, and a handful of brushes, baby. You know, I just didn't have time to do it. In fact, I still owe you 5 paintings, right? 5 or 6. I actually brought them with me too, but the odds are I could knock out a couple tomorrow. I could knock out all of them tomorrow if I actually don't do anything else. But what I'm hoping is that I'm going to get to go do something else really fun while I'm here, because I won't be here long. And if they chop down the entryway in there that's just covered in brambles, if they can get that cleared out tomorrow, I'll go over tomorrow. But if they can't, I'll go over Tuesday, because Monday's spoken for. That'll be all day with Julio. So I handed out a bunch of cards today. Travels with Carl. Everybody loves the idea. And I still haven't more than a dozen, 12, 15 subscribers. But I did talk to Joseph, who I bought the farm from. Farmer for Fun is his website and his YouTube channel. Check him out. He and his wife have a cherry farm. He's my inspiration, and I'm hoping that he can help me blow up. Travels with Kristen. I already sent her a picture of my little Quinta, and asking her, hoping she can help me blow up too, because I need to get like 50,000 subscribers. So I'm a little short. But let me go back to this. I wanted to say something about this job, okay? What happened was, the way I show up in places, kind of like the way I got here, I just decide I want to go somewhere and I just go there. Oh, this is a little extreme though, because I didn't just come here. I bought a farm before I ever visited this place, sight unseen. Well, I saw Joseph's video, and there again, that says a lot about the kind of YouTube channel he has. He so thoroughly shows these homes and farms that you can decide, hey, yeah, that's got everything that I wanted. And this one checked all the boxes for me. I really wanted a stone ruin because it's the history and the stonework that just blows my mind here. And I had to be in the cherry growing area because the only farmers that I know grow cherries, And it seemed like a really lucrative crop. It is a really lucrative crop, but I also love cherries myself personally, and it's it's bulletproof. People have been buying cherries from Fundal for I don't know for how long, but they're not going to stop buying them as long as I'm alive. And I can be selling them wholesale. All I got to do is sell them wholesale, and I'll make a great living, which I would not be able to do on my Social Security again. So I'm going to work till I'm 70, but those trees are going to be producing cherries in the next 2 years, and by the third year they'll be fully matured. Well, they'll still grow, they'll continue to grow, but they'll produce a full crop on the third year. Like I said, that's around 10 kilos per tree, but can be more if you bring in bees, if you get lucky, if the weather's just right. It could be, of course, it could be less, but chances are it's going to be right around 10 kilos a tree. But I moved to Maui the same kind of way. I think I told you, I went into a good bit of detail on that. I went there to try to preserve my mind. And I have to say, it actually, in a weird way, I think it actually kind of worked. Don't recommend that alcoholic path. It's not like it's not easy one, but there's better medication now. I guess that's what I'm getting at, which wasn't available to me at that time. So I self-medicated. But one night after work, I was watching these party boats come in and out and all the stuff that they do. And it was actually during the daytime that I approached the crew on the Windjammer, because it looked to me to be the largest sailboat and the coolest sailboat in the harbor. And I thought, hey, I might as well start at the top and work my way down. There were some other big catamarans that were party boats that looked fun too and stuff. But a Windjammer was a 110-foot, 3-masted schooner, okay? It was actually from the Chesapeake Bay area. So it didn't have a big enough keel to be in Hawaii to be doing what it was doing, but it had a big old motor in it, and they could drop the sails and go under engine power if there was too much wind. Or of course you could sail it. But, people that have never sailed think, oh, the more wind, the better, right? Well, no, that's not exactly true, because with wind, you also get choppy water, which, you'd like to avoid that. You'd like to be sailing on glass if you can, but that never happens. And then the other thing is that in Hawaii, the wind can be so strong that it will actually break the mast, or what they call demast the boat. It'll actually snap the mast off, which are like, smaller than telephone poles, but they're heavy duty, and now they make some of the sails out of Kevlar and everything. This boat was all wood, okay, except for the steel cables and the stays and, the metal parts and the metal bits and the engines. But everything else was wood, and it was built to be a sailboat. And I wanted to learn how to sail, so I said, hey, you guys need any help? You need any inexperienced crew that's willing to work to sail? And they're like, oh, what can you do, man? I said, I don't know, I can paint. And they said, well, we always need painters. You never run out of painting on a sailboat. One of the time, that's like a bridge. By the time you finish the front end, you work towards the back end of the stern. It's time to start heading back towards the bow again. They always need painting. But they said, sure. I said, can I sail for free and stuff? You can come out on the boat anytime you want to. Space available. It's just like a plane. If we got empty seats, empty space, we're only allowed to take so many people on board, including the crew, for safety, life preservers and life jackets and stuff. But if we got enough space available, you can sail any time you want to. I'm like, oh man, I'm on. So I started working there part-time as a painter. But I also help do other stuff, and because like a boat is just a never-ending project, especially a sailboat. But one thing that we used to do that was really cool is we used to sail. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with Maui or not, but Maui County is actually 4 islands. It's the island of Maui, obviously, the island of Lanai, which is straight across the channel, the island of Molokai, and the island of Kaho'olawe. Now, as I mentioned last time, Kaho'olawe was a bombing range for quite a while. It's been the Navy's given it back to the Hawaiians now, but the last I heard, there was still unexploded ordnances on the island, and I don't know if anybody but natives, Hawaiians, are allowed to go there now. Anyway, I'm getting off track. One of the things that we did that was really cool is we used to sail across the channel, and it's about 10 miles as the crow flies straight across the channel to Lanai or Molokai, and we used to, or Kaho'olawe, we used to sail over to Molokai and have a big barbecue cookout, get everybody back on board, and sail back to Lahaina. So it was really exciting, and people couldn't believe, like, that's the cool thing about Maui, is you drive around Maui, you have a different perspective of these other islands as you're going around the coast or around the island, but they're mostly on the leeward side. So you also get sunset there, and it was usually pretty smooth sailing going to Lanai or Molokai, but usually on the way back it got pretty rough. In fact, it got so rough that as you were going through over the channel, over the waves, the rear end of the boat would come out so much of the water as it plowed into the next wave that we would get the propellers out of the water, and you can hear the propellers scream, and then it's pitching up like this, going down into the next channel, and people were just praying and puking and at the same time and asking me, do you think we're going to make it back alive? I've been real lucky, that I've never gotten seasick, but I sure don't ever want to, because it looks bad. And I feel so sorry for people that were getting deathly seasick. But when we would get out on the water sometimes, or we would get ready to leave for the day, for lunch, Captain Larry was my favorite captain. We had several captains, but Larry would have a pair of binoculars with him, and while everybody else was barbecuing and scarfing down food, Larry's looking at the water in the channel. You can start to see the white caps forming, right? It's getting windy, it's getting rough out there. And Larry come around and start telling the crew, let's get everybody back on board. This is going to be rough. And so our job was to also, like I said, I did a lot of other things as well as painting. If I was on board, it was also my job to try and comfort the passengers and reassure them, that the boat was built for this, and we do this all the time, and no problem. We'll be back in Lahaina Harbor before you know it. And then Larry would come on the speaker and go, ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything that you have that you want to keep real extra dry, just give it to one of the crew members, and they'll take it down below, and it'll be, dry as a bone when we get back to Lahaina town, okay? Hang on, it's going to be a little bumpy out there, but the boat is built to handle this, so don't you worry. We're going to be just fine, okay? We may get a little water on the bow, so if you want to want to stay drier, you might want to head back towards the stern, the rear of the boat. We've got plenty of life jackets and lifeboats, and the crew is ready to handle this situation, and we're going to be just fine. So just relax and hang on, folks. Here we go. And that was it. And we'd start heading back, man, and it was really exciting for me because, like I said, I'm lucky I didn't get seasick, and it was cool to see. I knew Larry knew what he was doing, and I knew the boat was big, it was heavy, and I knew exactly where all the life jackets and lifeboats were. And I knew that I was going to get one on if the boat started to come apart. But we weren't wearing them while we were sailing. It was, in hindsight, pretty foolish. And, if I were to do that again today, I'd be wearing my own life jacket while we were sailing, not one of those big bulky ones like we had on board. But anyway, that was my job with the Windjammer, sailing back and forth to Club Lanai and barbecuing over there and trying not to get hit from flying coconuts on Molokai. They'd come out of the trees when it got real windy. And those were good times, the noodle salad. And I understand that the Windjammer is no more. It fell into disrepair. So I don't know if it was scuttled, if they sank it. I heard that they scuttled it and sank it for artificial reef, but I can't verify that. But I hope you liked the intro, and I'm just having a blast in Portugal, and I'll see you back in Washington. Have a great time. Love you all. Please like and subscribe and share and help me blow this damn thing up. Oh, yeah. And I don't have my copy of Amendment 21 with me because I gave it to Joseph. But go to Amazon and get a copy of this book, Amendment 21-A. It's about ending the war on drugs. I wrote it. It's a badass little book. 2017 is when I published it. So, I've been beating this drum for a while now. And in fact, I've written a second book, self-published a second book, hand-printed it. So there's only a dozen copies in the world of that. And they're going to go for big money. I still haven't bound them all yet. But, hand-printed them on a letterpress machine. And as you know, this is going to be page 15, painting 15, story 15. All of the prints are going to be available. I've contacted a printer in Seattle. I've decided to have them do the digital prints for me because I want to make them a little bit larger than this, and I want to have a nice border all the way around so I can sign and number them on the bottom, and then maybe a ½ inch on the sides and on the top, and on archival quality paper and archival quality ink, of course. But I don't have a large enough printer yet. But hey, Epson, sponsor me, man. I'm here for you. I'm going to be doing thousands of prints. Come on, let's make this thing happen. And anybody else that wants to sponsor me, DJI, camera equipment, Lipton. I still need gear and money and plane tickets and all kinds of stuff. Hotels. It's expensive out here. I'll help the brother out. And you, if you know how to use Facebook and YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, but if you're a YouTuber and you can help the brother out, I'll pay you. Please help me help you. That's all I got to say, man. Let's ride.